Hey guys, what's up? Anthony here, Georgia Sunbelt. First, I want to give thanks to all the new subs I've gotten. I really appreciate you guys subbing to my railroad and taking a peek. Hope you paid attention to the run by. More on that later. As you can see in that run by, lighting could be improved. When I start building my railroad, lighting wasn't a priority. I wasn't building it to be a museum piece or a showpiece or anything like that. Just doing it to have fun, and only started sharing it when I realized people on YouTube were sharing their railroad, so I started filming my railroad too. So that's how I got on YouTube. The name Georgia Sunbelt came from many years ago. I used to like the Cotton Belt Railroad. Don't know why, but I had a lot of Cotton Belt Atlas yellow box Jeeps. Still do. I'm from Georgia. Georgia has a lot of sun. Combine the three, Georgia Sun Belt. Simple as that. That's where the name came from. I run Southern, Norfolk Western. I wish I had some Central of Georgia. I don't. And Norfolk Southern, because they bought them out. And the Georgia Railroad and Georgia. Georgia Railroad came right through my hometown where I grew up, not far from those tracks. Saw plenty of Georgia Railroad trains. Norfolk Western, I spent a lot of time in Suffolk, Virginia. My uncle lived right next to the Norfolk Southern Main. As a kid, I was always out watching Norfolk Western trains zoom down the main. The Central of Georgia, as I said, I wish I had some Central of Georgia engines, but I don't. It went through my grandfather's hometown of Rennes, Georgia. I used to see a lot of those as they went through. Matter of fact, my grandfather actually was a Gandhi dancer on that railroad when it was being built at Savannah in Atlanta. And the Southern, I have relatives in Albany, Georgia, and they live right across from the Southern Railroad yard. So those are my four railroads, so that's why you see a lot of that on my layout. I do have a lot of lease power too. I don't know, for some reason I like lease power, so I got lease power. Industries on my layout, there's a kaolin industry that I'm working. It was a few miles south of my hometown of Thompson, Georgia, aka you will hear me talk about the town of Timpson. That's a play on words. There was a plastic pellet industry, there was a lumber industry, there was a small food manufacturer. There wasn't a propane, but I like propane, so I modeled a propane. And there wasn't a corn sweetener, but I like that too, so I modeled a corn sweetener. So those are the main industries. Oh, and an aggregate. There was an aggregate industry too also. It was along the Georgia Railroad. So those are the industries I model on the Georgia Sunbelt. By no means is a Georgia Sunbelt prototypical. So rivet counters, what can I say? Doing it to have fun, not trying to limit myself to any era, any product, any specific this, specific that. So I'm loosey-goosey. That's just me. I jump around on my layout a lot as I'm doing stuff. I know a lot of people like to finish a scene, get it done before you move to the next one. Do this area, do this area, do that area. That's great for them, but that's just not for me. I just do stuff as it comes to me here, and I go and I do it. So just having fun. Before we go downstairs and show you the layout overview. And by the way, I apologize. It might get a little shaky. I already filmed it, so it might get a little shaky as I'm walking around holding the camera. So hopefully you don't get too dizzy or anything like that. And let's see. And before we do that, I'm just going to give you like a short little sketch overview of what you're going to go see. I hope you guys have the stamina to make it through this layout overview. All right, here we go. Before we head downstairs to the actual layout, I just want to give you a little overview of the layout itself. The total layout length is about 26 feet end to end. It's kind of an odd shaped. It's only about 12 feet along this edge, about 14 feet along that edge, and then there's a 9-foot jog here, another about 12 feet along this edge. There's like a 10-foot jog here to a little short wall area. This is all an open area right here. Over here, there's the stairwell and a closet and stuff. And I had to leave room. This dotted line is the edge of the layout, not necessarily the wall, but they had to leave room to be able to walk this way and come back this way to a bathroom and bedroom back in that area. The black marker, or the black line, represents the what I'm calling the NS line. That's the full loop of the layout. The red marker, that's what I'm calling the GSB line. GSB still has trackage rights over the entire layout. And through the opening scene, you show a train coming up. This grade right here, that's about a 2.5% grade to get from here all the way up to this flat area up here where the yard is, what I'm calling Timpson Kaling Yard. There's a lift out right here in this section to get into the layout. So we're going to start out over here in the Timpson Kaling Yard area. There's a kaolin business I'm building, industry I started building here, but still have lots of work to do. We're going to follow the train around the dark line or black line. It's going to go through the town of Timpson. It's going to come around this way. There's a small town area here I haven't named. Going to come back around here. This area over here, I didn't model the town area, but I'm calling it Harlem. Back to where you saw the train in the opening scene. Back up to Timpson Yard. The red, again, is the Georgia Sunbelt lines. The yard, it services the kaolin industry. Of course, I said it had trackage rights everywhere. There's a branch line that comes around here that services the propane industry and a plastic pellet industry. I'm calling this area Pine Tucky. Pine Tucky's a little community in Richmond County that kind of faded away after everybody grew up and left. That's where my father was born, but it no longer exists, but it existed when he was born. The Georgia Sunbelt, this line is going to terminate over right here as it crosses over the NS line. Just saying it was abandoned. This part here is just to serve these industries. There's another spur that comes down and services an aggregate business down here. The aggregate business is Ephraim's aggregate. That was one of my grandfather's names. The GSB also serves the corn syrup transload area here, Sap Foods, and H. Brown Lumber, which is here. You've probably seen some videos recently on the corn syrup industry and the lumber industry, H. Brown, which is Hubert Brown, another one of my grandfathers. So when we go down, we're going to start the train here and follow around the layout, and I'll explain some more of the things that I haven't talked about here in this little sketch. So here we are in the Timpson Kaling Yard. You see there's a small engine facility I've started to build over there. The 2 tracks leading into there are actually dead tracks. They're completely isolated. I haven't put on my toggle switches yet, wired my toggle switches yet to run power to those switches. I did it because I didn't want those Athens Genesis units firing up every time I turn the layout on. So unless they're on a train, they will be silent. This yard services a aggregate offloading facility here that I'll tell you I screwed up on. There's an area about where you see the yellow hopper there. It starts to go into a decline because it's part of the incline that comes up until we get flat again. I totally forgot that I did that because this was a late addition to the layout, and so the track there servicing that is on a slight decline, so I can't really park cars there yet, and so they'll stay still. They will always roll down to the end there. That's something I've got to figure out how to fix. This yard mainly is going to be serving my kaolin industry here. I can't really model a giant kaolin industry. If you've ever seen one, they are huge. However, I'll throw up a couple of pictures here if I can still find them to show you, to give the essence of what I was trying to model with my kaolin facility. Here you see the train rolling through the town of Timpson. Lots of work to still be done with this town. Have a Kentucky Fried Chicken, a little grocery mart. It's going to be named Culpeppers. There's a family that owned a small grocery called Culpepper where I grew up in, so I'm going to name that Culpeppers. Just got to make the signage for it. There's still quite a few of these old Dairy Queens around, so I modeled the old one because this is going to be like an old small southern town. There's a Walther's Cornerstone Merchant Row 5 kit that's going to be modeled and put in that location. There's also a distributor back here of supplies, piping, lumber. It's going to be some brick and other things. Those bulkhead flats with the pipes there are just sitting there right now to be out of the way. My plan is to take these two Walther's kits, combine them, kit bash them, to have a huge kit along the wall there that represents a abandoned mill. Lots of those in the South. Where that engine is sitting right there, there's a switch right under that, under the two ADM cars. This is what I'm calling the Pine-Tucky cutoff. As you can see, that line runs around the back of the layout over to my propane facility here, distributor. Got more propane cars to build. Have a lot of old Walther's kits that I haven't completed. There's Pine-Tucky Baptist Church. This is going to be modeled as a couple of abandoned businesses. I plan to have grass and weeds and stuff growing all over. Just hadn't got to that part yet. And here's the plastic pellet distributor back here. And you can see here is where the GSB terminates. I just haven't done the termination point and put up the proper rail signage saying rail ends here. But that's the town of Pine-Tucky. As the train is creeping through, I can come over and show you where everybody lives. This is probably the most completed scene. It's not complete, but most completed scene on my layout. All the industries and everything is still under construction. I have a tendency to roam around and do things before I complete one thing, I'll do something else, so I don't get bored. I know some people do the opposite, but I don't. There's going to be a fishing pond here. No water poured yet. Still some more scenery I want to do before I get to that point. Over here, the canoes are from, I just drew a blank, Jim Tedesco at Millennium County Railroad. He pruned those out for me and I painted them up. You can see there I built a little canoe hut, store some canoes. There's some canoes up there. And you're probably wondering how we're going to get those canoes down to the water. Well, I'll save that for an update. But you can see, I mean, there's some basic scenery and things that's been going on up here, around here. Nothing's complete, like I said. We're going to go back over to the town of Timpson. There is a switch for a spur behind that building right there with the roof not put on yet. That is a spur that comes around and goes down to where my aggregate businesses is going to be. Still under construction, that area. Still see all the plywood. Haven't done much there lately. I scratch built this bridge probably a year and a half or so ago. I'll throw up some pictures that gave me the inspiration and how I did that, a combined rail and traffic bridge. I plan to put that will be basically there'll be a water scene under there. And there's the river stream area that goes back up. Still a lot of work to be done there too. This is a town area yet to be named. Those two flats against the wall. It's going to be I want to say fruit stand, but it's bigger than a fruit stand. It'll be like a fruit market. Those buildings do have lights in them. They're just not on right now. I have tested them, and I know they work. These two building flats here are just, one is just saying that's an abandoned mill, and this one is just being used for storage. There's a switch there that you can't see, but there's a cutoff where you see that train sitting. That's what I'm calling the NS line that you saw on my sketch in the beginning that goes around the layout. This is my corn sweetener transload area for tank cars and dry sweeteners to be unloaded inside of the building. There's a long siding there that I can just park cars or do some switching on with this industry and the industries that will be coming up. Those buildings and tanks will be part of the corn sweetener facility. I plan to run piping from over here, and it'll go where you see that tank car just sitting. I'll do some piping that'll run down, cross over the tracks, and into my food industry here, food distributor, not distributor, but food industry. This is SAP Foods, SAP. It's just my son's initials. There's 2 tracks going into that facility. I had to remake the top. I have done it. I just haven't rebuilt that. For some reason, I didn't support it enough, and over time, it just warped on me. This whole industry has lights in it. If I can find the old pictures, I'll throw them up and show you how it's lit up. The blue building there is just going to be a restaurant, and that's a country store. This road here is a continuation of that road right there. So the road imaginarily crosses there and goes on off into the distance. And here's my H. Brown lumber facility, which you saw in the opening clip. I knocked over my one of my wood chip loaders for the for trucks. This is just a little small engine service facility for an engine that's going to be parked there. And there is a yard also that services the lumber industry, and this yard will also be serving the SAP Foods industry also. And here you are seeing the worst part of my layout. I am planning to try and redo all of this. This is a lift out section right now. The train is going across it right now. It lifts out. My dilemma was, as I mentioned, I had a small area between the wall and here to allow people to get through, to get back to the other side of the house. So I'm very constricted in this area right here. I did not mean for the train to go back through Timpson Yard. I meant for it to bypass. Forgot to do the switch. Anyhow, you can see this would be the main, coming around this way, coming around the engine facility, back into the town of Timpson, and I'll just let the train continue on into the yard there and stop it. So there you have it, an overview of the Georgia Sunbelt. Hope that helps. And we're back. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. As I said, I knew this was going to be a little bit long video, and I know how people zoom through, fast forward through videos. You can see it in the analytics. That's why I normally try and do videos less than 10 minutes, and usually people only watch about 50% of that. So what can I say? As I said, I hope you paid attention to the run-bys, because there's going to be a little, what can I say? No, not a contest, but a little prize for those who have made it this far. That train with the 3 SDs, the 2 Southern and the 1 Norfolk Western. What I want you to do, if you comment, if you watch this video and comment, if you made this far, I want you to tell me how many states and how many cities were represented in that train. Now, if you're not a visible subscriber, make yourself visible. And hopefully I won't go broke doing this. But I'm not going to tell you the prize yet, because it's going to depend on how many people get it right. So, how many states and how many cities were represented in that train. All right? So I really appreciate you guys watching. Leave comments, like, subscribe, share if you haven't done all that good old stuff. Anyhow, Georgia Sunbelt, Anthony out. The answers to the quizzes closes Friday the 23rd at midnight. And one thing, I apologize, I forgot to mention, the first 5 people that gets it correct will get the prizes.